All right. Well, it's the top of the hour, and we're going to get started. Oh, hello. Good morning. Good morning. Someone showed up. All right, let's get started because it is the top of the hour. And I have something that I'm really curious about today to share with you. So, good morning. Happy Wednesday morning. I'm Melissa Agnes. This is Morning Lives with me, Melissa Agnes, a daily space to help leaders stay grounded and in their power, in their vision. If you're doing work that matters, which you are, and you want steadiness, you want clarity, and you want to lead with connection as you step into what you're called to do, then this is precisely the space for you. This is what I am here to support and serve you in. So every morning, every weekday morning, Monday through Friday, I share one anchored message, one anchoring message, and then we do a short drop-in so that you leave feeling centered, aligned, and in your power. So essentially, I'm not here to teach you anything new necessarily. I'm simply here to remind you of what's true so that you can stay in alignment with what truly, truly matters. So let's begin. And very quickly, just a quick heads up, if you're watching live on LinkedIn and or IG, there's a lag. I apologize for that. That's due to the streaming service. There's nothing I can do about it. So I love it when you share in the comments with me because it makes me feel more connective and less like I'm talking by myself. Just note that while I will see your message right away and likely respond right away, you won't hear my response for about 35 seconds because of the lag. So it's not that I'm not responding to you. There's no wrong way of doing the drop-in, which I'll explain later. And if you have any questions or if you experience anything or if something gets you thinking that I say, that I share, I would love to hear from you either in the comments or DMing me later. And then the last thing that I will say is invitation. If these morning lives serve you, please share them with others. Because if they do something positive for you, that is the goal, and they will then do something in return positive for someone else. So the thing that I want to explore today is not precisely, I can't promise that I'm going to be perfect at articulating it today. So please give me some grace. I'm kind of exploring how to say this as I say it, but I felt really enticed, really called to share it today. So I would really love to hear how it lands with you or what questions it inspires in you or where it takes your thoughts. And so essentially the message that I want to share with you, the reminder that I want to share with you today is how importantly your thoughts matter. How importantly your thoughts matter. And it's so fascinating. So I have spent over a decade, going on 2 decades, so let's just say a decade and a half, really fascinated by fear. Really, really fascinated by fear because when I was leading in crisis comms and leading really big tables with powerful executives and powerful leaders, it was so fascinating to me to watch how easily fear can take control of a human unconsciously, which is so natural, so normal, such a part of the human experience. But I was fascinated because I was sitting there and I was supporting and I like in a moment of crisis and chaos and uncertainty, I could very easily see the pathway forward. And yet it was so much of a struggle to get the buy-in and support to get those leaders to actually take that pathway forward. And that's the resistance is a mechanism of fear. Right? Just like control is a tactic of fear, resistance comes from fear. In some way, shape, or form, your nervous system doesn't feel safe. And so where I want to go with our thoughts today, how deeply our thoughts matter. I talked last week about how control is a tactic of fear, and I really don't like to use the word control because control is an illusion. When we think about control, the one thing that we actually have power and dominance over, when we choose to not just give them up, are our thoughts. And as Dr. Joe Dispenza says, our thoughts matter because our thoughts create matter. And I can go into so many different aspects of this, but I'm reading this. So today I was doing my morning meditations and I was reading, and I'm reading this really great book by Napoleon Hill called Outwitting the Devil. It's so great. And it's fascinating because in this book, Napoleon, back in the 1930s, this book only got published in like 2011, okay? Because his family was so fearful of how it would be received. So going to my fascination with fear. So in this book, Napoleon has a real life encounter, so he claims, with symbolically what he refers to as the devil. I can say that for me, whether you believe in the devil and God and all the things, that's not what we're here to debate or talk about. It's more, in this, it's fear, right? The devil, we could say, equals fear. And it's a really fascinating discussion where Napoleon is interviewing this fear-based entity, this devil. And in it, the devil, we're going to go just by that term, just for the sake of simplicity and in accordance with this book, okay? In this book, the devil says that he takes hold of humans in a couple of ways, and two of his biggest tactics are to take humans off their purpose. So he calls that getting them to drift from their purpose, drift from their mission, drift from why they are here on this earth. He does that in a whole bunch of different tactics, which he goes into detail in the book. One of the main tactics is fear, by inseminating fear into us. And in my work as a crisis leader, when I was, doing that work, or just when we look around the world, and I like to play a game where I say, okay, this decision being made by this leader, whether it's a leader of an organization or a leader of a country or a leader of whatever it might be, of a community, is this decision being made by unconscious fear or not? And more often than not, my answer is probably, most definitely yes. Fear is such this interesting tool because it's so fast acting in our system that it takes over our prefrontal cortex so fast that oftentimes we don't even realize that we're in fear. And so one of the ways to not drift, to not get off purpose, when I'm doing these lives, I'm talking to you who is a mission-driven, soul-aligned leader, right? You are here to do really important things in this world. And one of the easiest ways to stray from the important work that you are here to do is by losing control of your thoughts, by allowing fear to take over. And it's so easy for that to happen. I see it happening all the time. And if we're getting honest with ourselves, it happens to all of us, right? And so when we go back to the power of our thoughts and how the one thing that we actually have control, power, agency over, dominance over, is our thoughts. And so in thinking through this and sharing this with you, I had some notes that I wrote down, okay? So if mission-driven leaders, so if you stay on purpose, here's the thing. And I apologize in advance for not being so eloquent today. Please give me grace because I'm sharing this with you as it's making sense to me because I feel it's that important. When we are mission-driven leaders, we are here to create positive and big impact on the world. It is so easy for our thoughts to lead to doubt, for our thoughts to lead to imposter syndrome, for our thoughts to go, well, why me? Why would it be me? What makes me special? Or I can't do that. Or everybody else's doubt and fear, maybe they're right. Maybe my dream is too big. Maybe my mission is too big. The second that we let those thoughts in, fear comes in, and fear leads us, or it can very easily lead us down a downward spiral. And so to have conscious dominance over our thoughts is a choice, which means that every time that we have a thought of doubt, we have to train ourselves to have a greater thought of hope, a greater thought of belief, a greater thought and remembrance of the impact that we're here to create. And that takes self-discipline and consciously being aware of where our thoughts are leading us. So, a couple things. So, what if that I wrote down this morning? What if, by instead of letting seeds of doubt creep in and take you off path, take you off mission, take you off purpose, what if you stayed determined instead, and this is a choice, what if you stayed determined instead to hold that vision of what you are here to do? And a secret hack, a powerful hack to do that, is to choose, instead of going down the thoughts of doubt and fear and allowing those feelings, those low frequency, vibrational, emotional feelings to take over you, to say, okay, thought, I hear you. You aren't actually true. You are just fear trying to keep me safe. I appreciate you. Here is what's true. This vision that I hold, this impact that I'm here to make, I can feel it. Choosing to feel it, choosing to allow yourself to imagine the bigness of what you are able to do, to accomplish, to the ripple effects of impact that you are able to achieve. And when we choose that thought and we match that thought with the feeling of the success of that accomplishment, all of a sudden, the fear starts to diminish. And it is in that moment that you are taking agency, that you are taking ownership and power and control, if we're going to use that word, of your own mind, of your own thoughts, and you are creating a new reality. The reality of accomplishing your mission, of bringing your vision to life, and of creating that powerful, important, and meaningful impact, positive impact on the world that you are here to create. Our thoughts matter deeply. As Dr. Joe says, your thoughts matter because your thoughts create matter. And it is, if we go back to control, it is the one thing that we can choose to have complete power and dominance over, is how we think. And a part of that is remembering that your thoughts aren't always true. You get to choose what truth you want to believe. You get to choose which thoughts you decide are true. Do you decide that the fear and the doubt and the indecision and the feeling small and the imposter syndrome, do you want to believe that that is true? Or do you want to believe that you are capable of bringing your vision to life, of leading the mission that you are here to lead, and on having the positive impact on the world, on your community, on your organization, on your family, whatever the case may be, that you are here to have? Which thought do you choose? And how determined and committed are you to actively choosing that thought, those thoughts, every single day? Rerouting from the fear and the doubt whenever you notice it's happening. This takes actual work. This is not easy. And I also promise you that it gets so much easier, because as you begin to believe the power of the potentiality that you hold and not letting the fear and the doubt and that exception win, the more you attract that reality, the more successes you have under your belt, the more it's easy to believe that truth, because you have the experiential proof and the self-credibility. So that's what I wanted to share with you today. It's how deeply your thoughts matter, and a tactic to help you consciously reroute your doubts when fear trickles in. The second we let fear, we give fear, like say it's a small little flame, the second we give it air, oxygen, by feeding the thoughts, that's when it gets harder and harder and harder to get back to the hope, get back to the vision, get back to the belief. So it's about stopping it at the root, blowing out that flame the second it ignites. And so, as I just mentioned, one of the hacks to doing this is constantly like telling yourself what you're thinking, right? Being conscious of your thoughts and feeling into. When we match our thoughts with an emotion, that's how we make the biggest impacts in the quickest amount of time with the most amount of ease. The same is true for the negative. When we allow our fearful thoughts to create fear in us, that's an emotion. That's going to amplify. So let's redirect, let's course correct, and let's believe in the possibility, the infinite potentiality, and feel into what that feels like on a consistent basis. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is what we are going to practice in today's drop-in, in this morning's drop-in. And we're going to get right into it. So, bringing to mind, what is a mission? What is a vision? What are you here to do? What did God, the universe, hire you to do in this lifetime? What is your soul's mission? And it can be as simple and easy as, you know what? I want to be a really, really great parent. And it can be as big as, I want to change this huge thing in the world to better the world for everyone, right? There's no wrong answer, but what is your answer? And the best way, in my experience, to do this is to think into a thought and choose the thought, the imagination, the success, the achievement that brings you the most excitement. Following the highest frequency is a tactic, a leadership tactic that I strongly recommend. So we'll talk about that another day. What is your mission? What is something you are here to do? And have that in mind. Visualize that. What does success look and feel like? And in this drop-in, we're going to conjure that so that we can create a pathway to more easily remembering and finding that feeling when fear and doubt begin to creep in. This is the exercise. So, what is a drop-in? A drop-in is where we get out of our brains, which is where fear lives, and into our bodies, where all infinite wisdom, clarity, divine guidance exists and comes to and through us. And the more we practice dropping out of our minds and into our bodies, the easier we gain clarity in moments of uncertainty. Access to clarity. And so if you are driving, please don't do this. It is not safe to do so. If you are walking in traffic or foot traffic out in the hustle and bustle of the world, come back to the recording of this at a later time. If you are at a cafe, or if you are in a cubicle or in an office and there are people around and you feel funny, you feel silly, invitation to do it anyway, because after this grounding, you will be so clear, you will be so calm, you will be so aligned, you will be in such coherence that others will wonder, what magical thing are you doing in the morning when you shut down your eyes and you breathe for a few minutes? And they'll be wondering how they can get some of that. So lead by example. Have the courage to do so. Okay, shutting down our eyes or softening your gaze, whatever feels most comfortable to you. We're going to take 10 minutes, that's it. 10 minutes as a gift to you to start this day off in alignment, in clarity, and by remembering that vision and that mission of what you are here to accomplish today. If it's not a big mission and vision of accomplishing in your lifetime, just today. Let's just do that. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. It's the practice, and there's no wrong way to do this. We're going to do the halo active breath, which is in through the nose, out through the mouth. And I may introduce in this breath work another breath today for the first time, which is the triactive breath. So that is all through the mouth, which might feel funny at first. It's in through the belly, in through the chest, out through the mouth. Belly, chest, mouth. So if you want to practice putting your hand on your belly, putting your hand on your chest, breathing in there, and then out through the mouth. And this is a way to stir up more energy, to bring more life into your vision, into your breath, into your body. As you do this, you might feel tingling sensations. They're completely natural. You might feel a little dry mouth or like you want to cough. That's because we're not so used to mouth breathing, and that's normal. And you might feel a little lightheaded, and that's also normal. You are your highest authority, which means that you get to listen to your body every moment of every second of every breath, because your body knows. So just listen to your body and do what feels best and what feels right to you in the moment. All right. Okay, that being said, Shutting down your eyes, softening your gaze. And let's just take some deep cleansing breaths in through the nose, out through the mouth. And let's intentionally call back our energy from all the places and spaces that it has been drawn to already this morning or today. You're probably not just waking up, so there's things that have happened in your day, and we get to say, okay, for the next 10 minutes, my energy, my focus gets to be right here, right now. Permissioning your brain to say, for the next 10 minutes, I'm just gonna focus on my breath and on my body, and I will come back and be with you to listen to all of your chatter in 10 minutes. Sometimes just telling ourselves that allows our brains, ourselves, to permission our thought to just slow down a little bit. And every time a thought occurs and you remember to come back to the breath, that's it. That's all. It's thank you for that breath. Thank you for that thought. Back to the breath. It's the practice of choosing where we put our attention. So keeping that breath moving in through the nose, out through the mouth. On your next exhale, allowing your mind, your thoughts, your consciousness, your awareness to travel down with that breath straight to the bottom of where you are seated. And bringing your full consciousness to the sensation of the chair or the pillow, the couch, whatever you're sitting on or lying on. Bringing your consciousness to the sensation of that piece of furniture against your body. So this is a practice in just choosing where we put our focus. And as you bring your focus down, notice that whatever you are rested upon right now is strong enough to hold you. Which means, if you so choose, you can let go of everything that you are holding, all of the weight that's on your shoulders, that's tensed in your body. And you can give it to the piece of furniture or the floor that's holding you, because it can take it. It's a reminder of how safe you are right now to let go, to be present, and to breathe. Gifting yourself this moment. Keeping that breath flowing in through the nose, out through the mouth. Invitation with your next inhale to bring your consciousness up from your sit bones to your heart center. This big, beautiful intelligence center. This powerful intelligence center. And as you breathe in through the nose, imagining that it is your heart that is actually taking in that breath. So as you breathe in through the nose, expanding your chest cavity and letting in all of that air, all of that oxygen, all of that energy. And as you exhale through the mouth, allowing that exhale to sink you more and more deeply into the safety and comfort of your body, your solar plexus, your belly. So in through the nose, opening up that heart cavity, that heart space, out through the mouth, sinking more deeply into your body, letting go and resting into your seat. So taking that breath on your own, as it feels good, in through the nose, opening up that chest space, out through the mouth, sinking more and more deeply into the comfort and safety of your body. And when you are ready, bringing to mind something, a goal that excites you. It can be a personal goal. It could be your soul's mission. And not just bringing it to mind as you continue to flow that breath in through the nose, opening up the chest, out through the mouth, deepening into your body. Not just bringing that thought to mind, but feeling the excitement that it brings to you, the idea of that goal, the idea of the effects, the meaningful impact of your mission. What if everything that you dream gets to happen? What does that feel like? What does the idea of that feel like? Allowing it to feel good. Allowing it to open up that chest as you inhale even more. And breathing in the excitement, breathing in whatever sensations it gives you to imagine the success of that accomplishment that is your divine right. It's what you're here to do. Therefore, it is possible. And as you exhale, allowing that feeling to feel safe in your body, allowing that image of that successful moment of accomplishment to feel safe in your body. We're going to stay with the halo active breath in through the nose. Opening up that heart space, feeling the excitement, feeling the joy, feeling the anticipation, feeling the success, feeling the pride, all the things, proud of yourself for showing up and doing the thing, creating that impact, achieving that mission, out through the mouth, allowing it to feel good in your body. And as you breathe, and as you follow the streams of thoughts that allow you to feel into what it feels like to achieve, to live that achievement. It's not what it feels like to achieve it, it's what does it feel like to live it? What does that day feel like? What does that moment feel like? Allowing it to feel so good. Can you increase the dial of allowing it to feel so good by 2%? Can you allow the idea of you accomplishing your goals and your soul's mission, can you allow it to feel 2% even better in your body? Following that breath. Last few moments of breath. How good can you let it feel? How big can you allow yourself to dream and believe in your ability to accomplish that dream? Because I firmly believe that if you can dream it, it's meant to be yours to achieve. Otherwise, you wouldn't be able to dream it. And taking our last few rounds of breath in through the nose, out through the mouth, bringing your hand to your heart, and a moment of gratitude. Gratitude to yourself for showing up this morning and gifting yourself clarity, safety, relaxation, excitement, belief, and gratitude to your mission, gratitude to your dream, for choosing you to be the one to bring it to life. And coming back to your body, wiggling your fingers and your toes. And when you're ready, coming back to the screen, and as you do, let me leave you with a reminder, a remembrance of how deeply your thoughts matter. Fear is so easy to trickle in, doubt, fear, insecurity. And it's so easy to choose to fall susceptible to that stream of thought. So it is the visionary leader, it is the mission-driven leader's responsibility to take ownership and agency of your thoughts. It is the one thing that you get to choose to have true power, dominance, and control over. So when those moments of doubt come in, you can follow that stream. You can add fuel to that fire. Or you can choose to remember that on the other side of fear is infinite potentiality. And if you weren't meant to bring your dream and your mission to life, it wouldn't be in your heart. It wouldn't be in your head. You wouldn't have thought of it. So instead of listening to the fear and giving it power, you get the choice to say, I hear you. Thank you for doing your job and trying to keep me safe. And here's what I choose to believe to be true. This vision, this mission, as big as it is possible. And as you believe it to be possible and make that choice to believe it to be possible, choose as well to feel into what it will feel like, the moment, to live the moment of achievement of that dream. Ignite that stream of consciousness. Ignite that stream of thought. Because as Dr. Joe Dispenza says, our thoughts matter because our thoughts create matter. So do you want to create fear, or do you want to bring your dreams to life? You get to choose. And it begins by consciously noticing where our thoughts come from and where they go, and choosing to course correct and redirect and feel into the reality of your mission, what it will feel like to accomplish your dream, and add breath to that and watch, look out world, watch you bring that dream to life. With that, if you have questions, if you have thoughts, if you have shares, if you have experiences that you would love to share with me or feel called to share with me, feel free to put them in the chat or send me a private message. I will be back tomorrow morning at 9 a.m. Eastern for another morning live with me, Melissa Agnes, where I don't necessarily teach you something new, but I do remind you of what's true, of what's real. Your capability in bringing your mission and your vision to life is true, is real. Otherwise, it wouldn't have occurred to you. All right, with that, have a beautiful day. Remember to choose your thoughts. You're so welcome. Remember to choose your thoughts, to remember your breath, and I will see you tomorrow morning, 9 a.m. Eastern. Bye.